brought to you by Ludagear, athletic support items created by grapplers for grapplers. Fire Grub Meal Prep. Meal prep done right.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with Luis Quinones, a recent, not just one-time winner, but double gold winner for United World Grappling
United World Wrestling.
I don't know.
UWW.
What? So, okay, this is where it gets confusing, everybody. Let's say hello to everybody. Okay, so you won a wrestling tournament's version of grappling.
Oh, wait, we're talking about two different things, right? So UWW is United World Wrestling, is the parent organization that controls freestyle wrestling, Greco-Roman wrestling, and now grappling as well.
Okay.
So I competed in the grappling version of that in Argentina.
Awesome. And you've been to previous versions of this tournament in the past, correct?
So this was the Pan American Games.
Okay.
So the Pan American Championships. So it's basically, obviously, we're in the Pan American handle. So you have North America, South America, Central America. European countries compete in European, Asian countries compete in Asian, African nations, and then at the end of the year, Worlds is essentially all of those together. So this was the first time I've done Pan Ams for UWW.
Okay.
The previous times I've done Worlds, so in Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, the last 2 years. Yeah.
That's awesome. And the world traveling, like, a lot of people may not understand this because they may only go to like their local tournament
Sure.
and be like, yo, that was fucking dangerous.
Sure.
We're talking like, since it is a governing body of wrestling in it, the caliber of stand-up here must be very, very good.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, a lot of the matches, it starts on the feet. You have to engage on the feet. If you pull guard, you're giving up points. Obviously, like the Eastern European countries are extremely good on their feet in terms of wrestling. But it's not just wrestling, right? It's kind of like grappling's a hybrid of jiu-jitsu, sambo, wrestling, judo. Some judo, not as much judo, but so I mean, it's definitely it's the point of starting on the feet is to really kind of influence the action. It's very fast-paced. The kind of rule sets are the refereeing is more like wrestling, where they're very aggressive to hit you with stalling, so it kind of forces that engagement. There's no like kind of hanging around.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can tell the difference in terms of how people approach what it is that they're doing on this. I've seen from the matches that I've seen, when the stand-up action is happening, that energy is quick, it's supposed to be fast, and it's supposed to be designated for usually, what are they, 5-minute matches, or are they 6?
5 minutes.
Okay, so then usually most people get used to that 6-minute window. It's like 1 minute less with the operation idea of get it to be fast and get
fast.
That's cool. And of course, you have a wrestling background yourself.
Sure.
So it transitions nicely, at least for your background, to be able to do that. Does that fulfill that element of competition that you miss from wrestling?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've wrestled my whole life. That's kind of my backbone. I love the sport. I mean, I still follow wrestling very closely at the international level. I also just competed at the U.S. Open this past weekend, or past week. So, I mean, for me, like, wrestling has always been a kind of foundation in terms of not just like, in terms of like the discipline and sort of like competition mode, but also just like the balance and your base and your kind of understanding of your body motions, like all that was kind of what was my foundation for that.
So let me ask this, how did you find out about this tournament? Because not everybody seems to know about it per se, but I do find that it is starting to increase more and more, especially on a worldwide scale.
Sure. So so essentially, like each country has a delegation, has an organization that kind of runs how what teams are put together. So each year there's trials to do to join the team. You can't just like sign up for these events. You have to go with the representing group of the United States, essentially. So yeah, essentially it's a calendar year event, a calendar year commitment, essentially.
Nice.
And you make the team each year, essentially. It doesn't matter how many times you made it before, you got to make it again. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Can't just be in there and like put down a
Can't
medal
just show
and just be
up.
like, excuse me, medal here.
No,
coming in again.
It doesn't work like that. But yeah, I mean it's great. I mean I think it's I like the direction that UWW is going in, because it's essentially trying to make like what I think is the kind of natural evolution of jiu-jitsu into this sort of like hybrid sport where the excitement is there, it's fast paced, and with a governing body like a true federation like UWW that has obviously influence in the Olympic committees, and the ability to get grappling into the Olympics is their overall goal, and that's to me the most exciting. Just to have even a small part of that right now is for me is great. I mean, by the time that happens, I'm not sure how much longer how long I'll be around for that.
You won't be. I hate to break that part to you.
But certainly it's something that I think having a small part of at least is for me fulfilling.
This is always the sad part that I always feel for athletes. It's just being like, I am ready to go. Put me in. It's like, you're 59.
Yeah,
we can't bring you back out here.
I mean, I'm 34. I'm not 59 yet.
You're 59 in the grappler years.
Sure, that's true. Yeah, it makes sense.
You don't look 34, so.
No, I get that a lot. I mean, if I shave, I look like Keith, right?
No, you're not.
Well,
because you still got the little
I have
Tony
the gray.
Stark gray hair going on in there, so you do know you're a little bit older.
But if you don't ignore the gray, it could be. And nowadays, all the hipsters with their platinum tips, could be.
Yeah,
it could be
100% what I'm concerned about consistently. So that happens on your side. You find that the competition's coming up. You have to get all this stuff going together. How does it look like week of competition? Because you have to do travel as well for it.
Yeah, so the travel's that's a tough one, especially like the 12, 14-hour flights, right? That's always tough. People hacking lungs and sneezing in your face at the airplane. You're just kind of like. So I started doing the Japanese thing. I started traveling out with like the face mask.
Oh really?
Yeah.
You're fully Michael Jaskiny?
I mean, yeah. It's funny. People on the plane are like, "Are you sick?" Like, no, bitch, I'm not sick. You're sick. I'm trying not to be sick. And so, can I say bitch? Is that like
you
allowed?
can. You
All
can.
Right. Just gauging the.
You're fine.
Gauging the rating, the audience meter.
Yeah. We really skew to the very prudish. The grapplers who are like, excuse me, I don't like that cursing you.
I do not like that. So I started doing that whole mask traveling thing, which is always entertaining. Getting questions like, "Why are you wearing a mask?" Be like, "Because of you. That's why I'm wearing a mask."
Wow.
Yeah. No, I get aggressive.
Is that conversation how it normally goes?
Not quite. I mean, I'm building it up, but it's not quite so aggressive.
Wow, that's just
but I mean, it is literally that. Like, I've had to be like, I'm not sick. I'm trying not to get sick because the airplanes are just like a enormous cesspool.
Germ cesspool.
Yeah. So I mean, it depends. Like the traveling can be obviously tough because like especially if there's a big time change and whatnot. But it's exciting. I mean, the whole time you just visualize what you're going to do, stay relaxed, have fun. I mean, that's the best part. I mean, traveling the world and getting to do this is
the best.
Yeah.
So tell me about your matches, man, because I didn't get to see all of them, but I saw the parts that you were putting up, which,
sure.
Anytime you see what an athlete puts up, you always go like, oh, they always get that great clip of them being like, here's my heroic throw.
Sure. Well, like, I mean, it's because you only have a minute.
Right, but like for me, you only have a minute. You could put a whole thing on IGTV, which is a nice promo for that.
Oh, nice.
You can put up 10 minutes.
What you did there.
But
it's like for me. I just want to find the most exciting moments and just kind of put them in a minute clip. And
but tell me a little bit about the whole experience, because I don't know. Again, it's so hard to paint that picture for people to really understand. Like, you mentioned the Olympics. Do you feel like you're representing your country when you're going in there?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's not really an individual thing, right? Like, so for the Pan American Championships, each team gets 2 people per weight. So it's based upon your previous results that determines. Essentially, if you're on the team for that calendar year, obviously you have your spot, but the second person is determined by that. And so yeah, I mean, you go in your you're in your U.S. gear, you're seeing other countries in their gear, and it's essentially, it's an individual competition, but the points are going towards the country, and everybody's in their country attire, and you're competing against another country essentially. Sure. Yeah, I mean, it was great. I had a blast. Tough guys.
Well, matches. So, like, what was the first match like?
So the first match was actually an injury forfeit. A few people got super hurt.
Really?
Yeah, like somebody's ankle got broken. Some girl, debris, I think, shredded some girl's knee. Some other guy's like arm got jacked up. I mean, the thing is, like, there's a lot of pride when you're representing your country, right? So, like, some people tend not to tap.
I mean, a lot of people do that as is,
right? So
there is that, but
yeah.
But I'm sure it's exemplified a little bit more in such a high pressure setting like that.
Yeah, I mean, and then so I went against a guy from Argentina, which was the host country. And it was good. I mean, we started on our feet. Again, I had a game plan, just kind of plow through, be aggressive, use some of the techniques that I've been working on a lot in terms of like the feet transitions. Sometimes pure wrestling can get you in a lot of trouble.
Yep.
So for me, I've been working a lot on these kind of hybrid techniques that are more geared towards like grappling like scenarios and scrambles. So, I was kind of going in with a game plan, got some takedowns, a few guard passes. I was up on points, and then I ended up taking his back, getting an RNC. And then I went against a guy from Barbados. That match was fairly similar in terms of the strategy.
Sure.
He was a bit bigger. I actually went up in weight for this, so he felt like a bigger... I felt like a little bit of like a kind of stronger. I usually compete at 66 kilos, so this was at 71. And yeah, he was a strong, tough dude.
Was there any particular reason you went up?
I mean, I've been bouncing around the idea of
so you
like.
Just wanted to eat. Fat kid took
No, I've been bouncing around the idea of like trying to get a little bit bigger,
Sure.
but. Yeah, so I've been...
And what's that in real weight? Because those are real weight
154.6 and 145.4.
Yeah, because I know you was more in like 140s.
Yeah, 145 is normally what I compete in.
Being a little bit bigger for your
size.
Yeah.
145 is normally what I compete in, but I went up just to see how, because I had started a new strength and conditioning program with Daniel Higuera from the Cal Poly Pomona Human Performance Lab.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we've been kind of discussing some of the pros and cons of the kind of program, and I was like, I want to try to see if like with a lot more lifting now, it's like maybe try to go up a weight.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm it's kind of weird because I'm kind of stuck between those two, and it's like, well, which one do I really like? And I feel like 45 is my kind of more my like better competition weight.
Why is that?
It could just be like time spent in that weight class for some reason. I feel like the cut isn't like huge, so I mean, sure. I feel good there. You know what I mean?
Is it also maybe because you've competed for so long in?
That's what I mean. Yeah, like time spent at that weight.
That to me, I think, especially as you get to a certain point, some people will have to go out of a weight class because they are getting older.
Sure.
But if you are so comfortable and your body kind of responds to that weight, sometimes it's like, if you go up a weight class, your body's like, no, we like this here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was funny because like I didn't have to cut at all, so it's just kind of like something that just felt different about that, and it was just kind of like, yeah, it was interesting. But I mean, yeah, I think 45 is more my natural home.
Okay.
In general. So, but yeah, I mean, it was again really fun. And because the bigger focus is Worlds. If I was going to make this sort of weight change, I mean, it's not a drastic weight change, but just still a different weight class. Yeah. That was a good event to kind of feel that out in. It's like the smaller brother of the bigger events.
Yeah.
Because each one of there's essentially the calendar year has those Pan American Games, Europeans, Asian, African, and then obviously Worlds is kind of the big one at the end. which this year's in Kazakhstan again, as far as I know. They're UWW, essentially as an effort to kind of promote grappling, they're sending grappling and wrestling, essentially the same venue. So like our Pan American Championships were the first half of the week,
right?
And wrestlings were also in Argentina, so they were there also the second half of the week.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that was cool. And then Worlds this year for wrestling is in Kazakhstan, and it's no longer Astana. They changed the name of the city now. I forget what it's called now, but it's got a new name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did that feel cool? Because I did see on the tail end of your experience there, you guys got some time with some of the wrestlers there. Were you getting in some training with them as well?
No, I mean at that point we were done. They were preparing for their matches, and we got to see a couple of the Greco guys go to town. So
that's the weird
cool.
part is like sometimes, and I don't know if you guys experience this, but sometimes I feel like the apparel that grapplers wear is almost ready to train wear at any given point.
Oh, sure.
So when I saw like some of the photos with you guys there, I was like, are they training? Because they look pretty casual. But it could be that like, hey, I just got done training. Can I get a photo real quick?
We
were
were
trained now because like, you're super good, and
we were there. We didn't get to see some people said I had to come back because I had to teach, and then I had to leave for Vegas for the Open for wrestling for freestyle. And so I had to leave right away. But I got to see Adam Kuhn and a bunch of the Greco guys. Got to see Puerto Rico, which was cool, in Greco.
Awesome.
My native country, my homeland.
It's not. Nobody asked that.
I know, but just sliding that in.
I want to point out, nobody asked you about it.
But it's just cool. And seeing Cuba, I'm half Cuban, do you know that?
Didn't also ask or care?
I mean, but it's cool because I'm seeing them in the competitions there.
Listen, dude.
And it was great to see that.
If I got excited every time I saw a Mexican, I just want to let you know, people would think something's wrong with me.
Well, you live in LA, so you can't just get excited every time you see a Mexican.
You're going to overseas places. When that happens, you just run into people there. Plus, you're Cuban and Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually Cuban and Spanish and Puerto Rican. But I was born in Puerto Rico.
Who's counting?
Who's counting?
I just like the idea that you get so excited to be like, I ran into another Puerto Rican. What are you doing here?
I mean, Puerto Rico's not known predominantly as a big wrestling country.
Anybody who is watching this from Puerto Rico know that I like you just fine. It's him that I have the issue with. And it's more so him just being like, what are you doing here? Oh my God, it's so good to see you.
I thought you were going to pull a Keith right there.
Well, no. Oh, Keith really needs this right now. He's only 79-4 for the year. It's looking pretty bad for the kid.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Keith, if you're watching this, just know that I didn't spend at all any time during our training here, any time impersonating you.
That's totally true.
You know what it is? What I should start doing is I should 100% start doing bits in the middle of rolls. That's like, for my next bit, this is Keith in a gi. Oh boy, I didn't know there's so much cloth in this. What kind of gi do you have? That's a really nice one. Oh man, I really wish that was my gi, but he's got this one over here. I'm a little guy. Got him.
He's gonna kill you.
He can try.
I mean, he might try.
There's a lot of people who are like way in front of that line though.
That's true.
You know what the weird part, and just to remind you guys, I am in a gi because I wanted to make sure that I gave him the opportunity to try and kill me, and I just think it's fair. I think half the time when you do an interview with people and you bust people's balls, you should have an accountability. You should go and you should have them, have the chance to beat you up. And see, I'm not dead, so I'm fine. Plus, we wanted to show this off because now you do. Okay, so a spoiler. We live in an era of spoilers, so I want to make sure people...
Wait, this is very relevant given the Game of Thrones and Avengers...
Care more about that.
Spazzing out about spoilers.
Everybody being like, no, I can't ruin my pureness.
My whole thing is like, stay off of social media.
So I have twofold on this. Number one, don't purposely do it. Like, don't
Well, no, of
purposely
course.
spoil
Don't
it,
be a dick and ruin it. But
second, I've also read the spoilers for like every major movie, and it's never hindered my experience if it's a really good movie.
Sure.
The reason being is, and it's different for me because I understand, as a writer, as a somebody who helps contribute and make things in entertainment, I understand the element of good storytelling. And
Sure.
I go to see the experience, to see the work of like thousands of people who helped to make that movie.
Sure.
So I don't really care if I know Luke has a certain dad that we may find out a little bit later. I go for the experience to see like, how did they build that? Oh, is that cool? And I do understand that certain people want to have that experience when
Like
they go.
the kind of wow moment.
Yeah, that pure
Yeah.
experience of being like, oh, I didn't
No,
know it was gonna happen.
that's totally fine.
But I do get really like just bothered by everybody being like, okay, but spoilers, guys, because I can't take it, okay? Like, I can't. And it's like, you're not my responsibility. And it's the same thing, and this is, I know you probably love the Dragon Wars, but for me, the Game of Thrones, it runs like this. I
just
don't
spoiled
watch
it.
it. What?
You just spoiled it.
How did I spoil it?
Dragon Wars.
It's the whole point of the show. Listen, I watched the first episode.
People watching this probably haven't watched that
Yeah, I'm
episode
pretty
yet.
sure I inadvertently, without ever watching the show. That's not true. I'm
ruined it.
gonna tell you this.
just ruined
So
it.
here's the thing. I tried to
It's
watch
over.
the show.
Don't even bother.
But I just didn't. It didn't connect with me.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I tried watching it. I just didn't connect.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, this show's so good.
I just don't care. Like half the time.
Hey, but you
they're
don't
like-
have to care. It's still entertaining.
You kind of do. You have to get.
I mean, I
invested
care
in
for some of the characters for sure.
No, pretty much look around everybody being like, nah, it's
Yeah,
pretty
you can all
boring.
die.
Yeah, okay. Oh, is someone gonna die? Uh-oh. That's a normal storytelling device. The only difference is what it did do to subvert people's expectations, if you are uncultured, is when Sean Bean, I believe in the very first season, spoiler again, he dies, and the whole reason it's surprising to people...
In the first season, spoiler.
In the first season, yeah, I want to go back. The whole reason why I was a surprise to people is that they're so not used to him dying.
Sure.
Because they're like, well, he's a big star. Why would you get a big star and then kill them
kill
off?
him.
So I always tell people, look for the with and credits on any movie. And if you see those two things, that's a 50-50 they might die. Okay? So number one.
I never tried that.
Number two, yeah, him dying has meaning, so that's kind of good, especially for TV when you figure they're only going to have so many episodes. It's just like in a movie, when a certain character is going to die, you just go, oh no, oh please don't die. Okay, you got to make it to the sequel, buddy. So I think that's why people have so many different expectations. I just walk in, say, are you entertaining, are you fun? With Game of Thrones, I looked around, they're just like, how dost thou want to go about this war with thy king, thy queen? And it's like, no, go watch Deadwood. It's
Yeah.
way more entertaining.
Ooh, see, I kind of have that experience with Deadwood. I was like not
I can understand
had a hard
that.
time getting into it.
That's fine. And everybody has their own sort of thing. But what really entertains me about the Game of Thrones fans is when they start putting up these memes, they're like, that's a person who's telling you they don't watch Game of Thrones. And I'm like, listen, nerds, I'm not trying to go out of my way to go to you. Have your little fun dragon stories. I don't mind. It's totally fine.
I mean, it's fun. I had a good time. I have a good time with it.
Yeah.
It's almost over.
Yeah,
So.
thank God.
Spoiler, it's almost over.
There we go. But again, I operate from the mindset of I don't want to ruin their experience, so I don't want to go over to you guys and be like, "Shut up, nerds!
Yeah.
You with your dumb dragons. What? Oh no! Did somebody betray somebody else?
Yeah, it's like real life.
Oh no! There's a dude who's kind of luminescent. He's a king. Uh-oh. Boring.
Yeah.
Anyway, where were we on this? So
I don't know. We transitioned to
Well, we were
spoilers.
talking about the fact that, spoiler alert,
the gi.
you did win in no gi.
Right.
So that was awesome. But then you happened to also win in the gi.
I did. I'm saying, yeah, I'm
I
a,
know.
I'm a 10th planet guy, and I'm actually wearing a gi at the moment.
Yeah, I know.
Because, spoiler, we were training earlier, and yeah, I was like, I'll bring a gi. I know he's a gi guy, so I was like, aren't you? You're
I do both.
kind of like a gi guy, maybe.
So I put it like this. To gi guys, I'm a no gi guy.
To know you guys are a gi guy?
no gi guys, I'm definitely a gi guy.
So I was like, yeah, I mean, sure. Any chance I get to wear the gi is always fun. I like training in the gi. We talked about this earlier. I like training in the gi. I don't like competing in the gi necessarily, but I like training in the gi. Like when I go to John Jocks, when I've been to John Jocks and training with Eric, that's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that place is amazing. I love the kind of vibe there. And training in the gi is fun. I mean, I think you get to work on certain things that you don't get a chance to work on in no gi. But competition in the gi for me is like, yeah, I'd rather do no-gi.
Well, you also come from a background of wrestling where there is a certain expectation for a certain kind of excitement, a certain kind of pace.
And to me, the pace is so
And
slow.
in gi,
So slow. I'm just like, oh my God, dude.
So for me, the thing I do like about gi is, because I have a certain amount of patience for payoff, so I don't mind watching a match and being, try to make that lapel work.
Sure.
So there is that kind of payoff to it.
When you don't get that.
Oh, you do?
No, I'm saying when you don't get that.
When you do get that. If you don't get that, then it's just a matter of like, well, this guy kind of looked like he was coming up more, so he wins.
Like sick grip.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Hey, man. You know what's funny is like so what I like to do with traditionally no-gi guys is if I am training with them in the gi, I just kind of take a moment to observe what they like to do, because I feel it's good to switch between the two consistently.
Sure.
But I also look to see how, I know this is how they roll. I know this is how they compete. And then you add the gi to it, and I go, I know this is how they do this. And
Sure.
So it becomes this really fun game to me of seeing how they transition and what they do to complement each other. And a lot of the times, it's really nice because with some of the no-gi guys that I do train with, I'll literally be like, yo, did you know if you did this? And they'll be like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And it seems like you're some grand wizard, but in actuality, so for me, that's what it is. But it is that you were not just willing, but you were very excited to train in the gi.
Yeah.
And it is cool, you know? So
I mean, it makes your game better.
Yeah.
It makes your game better. I mean, it has, again, there's obviously other people that can speak to this better than I can that train in the gi full time or do both full time. But for me, I noticed that it when the pace slows down and you're able to like these kind of small adjustments that you can make in the gi kind of, sometimes you miss that in no-gi because like everything's a lot faster and you don't have those grips obviously. But yeah, I don't know. It's fun.
Is it, so let me ask this. This is a real honest question. It's real important, okay? When you are training gi though, I like the look of your face. It's just kind of like, I don't know where this is going to go.
I don't know where it's going to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when you are training gi, right, do you ever have a moment, because you are so competitive, that you're kind of like, all right, well, you know what, let's go no-gi now?
No.
No, you're not that
Not
guy?
at all. No, not at all.
Because there are a lot of people who will do that.
Not at all. And that's I think that's just like an ego thing. Obviously, like any competitor has to have some ego. I mean, that's just, otherwise why are you competing, right? You know, you could say that better myself, and of course, yada yada yada. We all know the spiel, but like at the end of the day, you want to, you not prove anything to anybody else but yourself, which inherently means you're trying to better, in some ways, better yourself. And
good way to arrive at your point.
Exactly. And so anyways, no, like for me, it's like if I'm in the training the gi, it's because I'm trying to get better at the gi, which there's no point in me ripping my gi top off and being like, let's go no-gi, bitch. You know what I mean? Like, there's no point in that. So
I have this kind of inverse of it, which is always, if I see people just training gi consistently and they don't train no-gi, that's when I usually say,
oh, sure.
Hey, you know what, do you want to go no-gi this round? Because to me, I'm like, I think it's so beneficial to do both of them. And so to me, when I see people who just kind of stick one path to it, it's different if I think they're trying to become a world champion and they have that mentality of like, no, I just want to stick to the one and become really good at that. But then it's a different experience when you just see like people being like, well, I don't want to, because it's like,
I mean, so part of the fun for me training in the gi is like those like aha moments where like, like, oh, here's spider guard, that's cool. Like, what do I do with this thing? Or like, like just the grit. So like I'll grab it's kind of, it reminds you a little bit of like what Keenan used to do before, where like Keenan's so innovative, right? Like he just tried shit and figured out things that worked and it didn't work. And so like I feel like I'm just now, oops, I knocked the microphone head.
Knock the shield off of the thing.
Yeah, I got it. I think I got it.
This is it's a great moment. It couldn't have happened at a better moment of like, here's right, I really love the gi.
So
fuck the gi.
So I put it back. So it's those like moments where I feel like I'm just now getting into that, where it's like, all right, well, I'm just gonna like try to twist this here and see like what kind of grip I can get with this. And so like I think that's part of the fun for me.
To be fair, I don't think I've had anybody that I've trained with recently that's been more excited to get the beginnings like of a half spider grip. That was just kind of like he got like one grip and like a foot on the bicep and was like, "Hey!"
I'm like, "Oh, here we go, action!"
And I just looked at him and I was like, "I wish I could say this is contagious, but I have to deal with this right now."
Yeah,
so.
It's fun. I mean, so I don't know. It's fun for me. It's kind of like. It's the experimentation with things you're not used to.
Sure.
So like for me, the gi is just like that. I'm like, oh well, like I don't know. I'm gonna try to twist. I don't know how to Keenan come up with like with worm guard. He was like, oh, I'm gonna grab this thing.
So
I'm gonna put it over here.
I think what it does become at a certain point, and I think you find this also in no gi, is just at a certain point you just kind of have to innovate out of necessity because you do it all the time.
Sure.
So I think there's a certain point where Keenan was doing his game. He's lanky. He figures out like, oh, hey, this is kind of working for me. I can usually get this grip. And I know that he had a couple guys. I think he said it was it Adam that kind of showed it to him. He credits somebody for giving him the worm guard. And then once they introduced that to him, then he was kind of like, all right, now I'm going to find my game from here. But I think that is the unique part of it for me in the gi, where I just kind of go like, oh, okay, today I'm going to work on getting this grip or doing this, and then like it becomes like an extra element of a puzzle that you're trying to fix.
Yeah, and like I mean, being a 10th Planet guy, obviously, like I train at HQ with Eddie.
Do they boo you when you
No,
find
not
out?
at all.
Did you walk in with a gi though?
No, but I mean, like we have guys that from HQ that will go and train at John Jock's. I mean, and people forget that Eddie's a John Jock guy. So
I get worried.
It's just funny because people are like, oh, like it's like no, it's like. Dude.
Well, there's like a 10th Planet Van Nuys has a gi class.
Sure.
So there are some guys who jostle between the two. And,
but some people hate it. Some people hate the gi.
I just
a lot of no gi guys hate it.
If you were to like show up at 10th Planet HQ,
I've shown up at 10th Planet in a gi before, but to train like with Eric or in the corner, right? But like away from everybody else, hidden under the mattress.
No one can ever dare.
Nobody can know. But yeah, I mean.
But you're also the guy, like, I feel like you're a utility player for them in the sense that, like, it's equally as normal for you to show up there and train gi and coach as it is for you to, like, be pushing a series of weights, show up in a singlet one day, show up another day.
I haven't showed up in a singlet yet, but I might have to do that. I feel like that would be a good mood breaker. I should do that for my students, like show up to teach in 100%. The singlet.
Because especially if you're trying to like get that street cred for wrestling and being like, listen, kids, you don't know what it was like.
You show up in a singlet.
Because the thing for me is like, with our sponsor, KO Sports Gear, they very nicely sent out some singlets, and I was just kind of like, I look through them and I go, it's not really our brand.
Sure.
But like, okay. And then I saw this like Super America singlet and I was like, oh fuck, I have to have that. Like I can't think of it, but I'll figure out something we do. And I was like, I told the guy, I go, we do these pro wrestling videos. And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah, I'll wear one for that. And like I've had prominent athletes who are champions, people who people know, being like, where can I get that? I will compete in that. Because I'm like, really? You would compete in that? They're like 100%.
You know what? Like maybe for my next event that isn't a UWW event, maybe I will compete in a singlet.
See what happens.
Well, I mean, I just competed in a singlet, but in a wrestling.
But at a wrestling event.
Yeah.
Where people are like, yeah, dude, no doubt.
It's a singlet.
You're right.
But I mean, it was kind of cool because like I had so you have to wear blue and red depending on where you are. No, like depending where you're on the bracket. So like if you're bottom is blue, top is red, and it'll change per match. But my blue singlet is my freestyle singlet from 2001. So it's the old style that used to be the low cut style. The new ones now are the high cut ones. Yeah. But it's like the low cut one, and I was like, oh man, this thing like still. I mean, I wrestled 140, 141 in college. So, I mean, like 140 in high school, 141 in college, and then like I've been the same size since I was like 14. Yeah. So it still fits a little tight, but it still fits. So I wore that, and it was just like so nostalgic, right? It's like kind of throwback. Yeah. Wrestling freestyle. I mean, I hadn't wrestled freestyle and competed in freestyle in like over a decade. So that was.
Let's talk about that because we spoiled. double gold.
Yeah.
Very good. Congratulations.
Thanks. Appreciate
Then
it.
the following week, you decided that you were going to go do the wrestling version of this as well.
Yeah, so the U.S. Open is the biggest freestyle event in the country. So that's essentially where the guys that place will qualify for World Team Trials or for in the non-Olympic years for Olympic trials in the other years. And the winner, depending if, so this is kind of a whole thing, but the winner in that weight, depending if there's a world medalist, will get a bye to the finals of the World Team Trials. Essentially not the finals, but he'll sit out. The winner of that trials will compete against that person.
It's the one time they allow you to put the medal down as opposed to every other time.
Yeah.
They're
So,
like, okay, the guy who wins.
Which makes total sense, right? Do you want to make the best team possible? And so I competed in the Masters division. The Masters division for freestyle is 25 and up. Like, I mean, that's like not very mastery.
Right.
Yeah, 25 and up. The Open, essentially the Open is the 7 or 8 guys that are in that are, vying for Olympic world spots. And for somebody who doesn't dedicate their time wrestling 100% of the time, I was like, yeah, I mean, of course I'm going to do the Masters division for that.
Yeah.
So it was a ton of fun. Some really tough matches. I miss freestyle actually now that I did it again. It's been a long time, but it was great. Made it to the finals, lost in the finals to Jordan Humphrey, another one of the Titan Mercury guys, a couple of well-known brothers. Was a ton of fun.
Awesome.
So yeah, I mean, but after that I was like, okay, I'm tired.
Yeah.
Because I landed from Argentina at like 6 a.m. on Friday and drove out to Vegas. It was like,
Of course.
yeah.
And I very much appreciate it because you made time for us very quickly afterwards.
Of course.
So that was very nice. Why did you miss it so much? Like, what was it about freestyle?
Wrestling? That like the aggression, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like that sort of like you're both trying to break each other's will, like, and you know what I mean? It's kind of like, and also just it's, for me, like wrestling's like an art too, it's like these sort of movements and transition takedowns, super high pace. Yeah, it's exciting. Matches can end in an instant in freestyle because the exposures happen very quickly, and so matches could end very, very quickly. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Part of it's nostalgia for sure, but also just that sort of competition, the sort of like in your face the whole time. Were
you also like, how were you prepping for that?
There
was no prep.
I wasn't.
That was just you basically come in and.
Yeah, so I mean, for my camp for Pan Am's, I was obviously doing rest, but I was resting 2 days a week, then jiu-jitsu, strength and conditioning, all the normal stuff, right?
Sure.
But no like real wrestling.
Right.
Wrestling for like no real wrestling in terms of freestyle, right?
Right.
Wrestling for grappling, which is drastically different. Completely different. So so I went in just with zero prep, just fine. I mean, that's not something that you necessarily lose, but the hard part was making that switch when because you're not going to give up your back in grappling, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to give up your back, but in freestyle you have to make sure you're facing the mat and your back doesn't get exposed past 90 degrees.
Right.
So it's like that sort of like switch, like, oh shit, right, I got to make sure I don't do that.
Right.
Was a little bit like hard at first, but after like the second, third match, you're just kind of like, yeah, whatever.
That's pretty dope.
Kind of get used to it. It was a ton of fun. I'll do it again for sure.
That's awesome, dude. I'm really glad that you were able to go back, do that, and especially back to back. That's grueling, I know for sure.
It was fun.
But it sounds like something that you want to continue doing, and I
for sure.
That's kind of cool that you would, in doing it, find out why you missed it and find a reason to return back to it.
Yeah. And I've been wanting to do it before, but the trials the trials for grappling were in the same. It's part of that whole like event.
Gotcha.
And so I had the chance to do them this year, which was great.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start talking about what are things that are coming up. Where are you going to be? What comes up next?
What's coming up next? The World Team Trials at some point will be coming up, and then I'll be going back to Kazakhstan again, assuming everything goes as planned. what else? A couple of things. I want to do Nogi Worlds again not again. I want to do Nogi Worlds this year. I missed it the last 2 years. When I've been injured, I've just missed out on the opportunity. I want to do that. And then, just keep teaching, training. Those are like kind of my big events for the year is all the UWW stuff. Nice. And so other things that kind of come in, I sort of kind of plan for those, but I don't plan for those, but they can just kind of happen ad hoc.
Well, if people are looking to train with you, where can they go train with you, or where they can probably doing privates? And
10th Planet HQ, obviously, there every day, pretty much every day. Madhouse, love that place. If they want to do privates or anybody wants to get a hold of me, you can reach out through Instagram, Luis Quinones 10P. So that's basically where I'm at. I mean, I live in downtown, I train in downtown, so it's not very hard to find me. I'm usually in that area.
It's pretty easy.
And that's kind of the plan. I mean, it's been a good year so far, kind of busy. My year usually is like a little bit busy in the spring and then very busy like end of summer.
Sure.
This year was like excessively busy in the spring, and then like I'll have a little bit of downtime, get kind of my body prepared again, and just keep at it. I mean, I want to keep doing this as long as I can. This is a ton of fun, and I love just going out and putting it on the line no matter what happens. It's just a good time.
That's good stuff.
I mean, I get mad sometimes, but
why do you get mad?
If I don't perform certain ways, if I don't do something that I wanted to do and it was there, or like I miss an opportunity, I kind of get a little hard on myself, but it's okay. I mean,
did you get hard on yourself today?
Today, no. I mean, Spider Guard. That's all I cared about. Spider Guard. I grab your collar a few times.
Yeah.
Take your belt, try to choke you with it. Like
that was confusing at first. I don't know if it was more confusing for me or for you. At one point, and I really do mean this, and I guess I can say it now because you have a gold.
It's legit.
In gi now.
It's legit.
But there's definitely one moment where he didn't know what to do with my belt, and he was standing up, and it comes off, and he just kind of like threw it at me, and I was like,
I thought you were talking about the moment I was going to choke you with it.
No, see, that was going to happen. But
I was going to try.
Sure, but I know how the story ends.
Yeah, but I wanted to play out that script.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was like, all right, well, like, there's no judges here. Hashtag no pound sign no judges needed.
That's the best part is I think you actually waited. There were a couple people who were training here as well, and I think once they left, that's when you started to do your dirtiest tricks.
Dude, debauchery. I mean, like,
then you
take
were just
your belt.
Like, okay.
Try to, I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to choke him with his belt. Like, do a few things. I mean, rules are there for a reason, but like when there's no judges to enforce them, you just do whatever you want.
Well, the dumb part is like I always feel like it's almost better for certain people to have people in the room training with you for the mere sake of that training session can go forever when there's nobody else there.
Sure.
And it's just you and one other person.
Yeah.
And especially if like you and the other person are kind of about the same or you have very different skills.
Yeah.
Like we've definitely had people like leave a gym and then come back and be like, are you still here? And it's like, neither of us won.
We're still here. Still gonna happen.
I'm so close on this choke.
Yeah.
So I think there's.
Oh yeah, that reminded me because I'm gonna do Masters Worlds for the gi.
Get out.
Yeah, that's right. It just reminded me. I was like trying to think. I was like, wait, what else? What is my
there's
plan?
There's another thing that you put down.
What is my plan for the rest of the year? And I know that there's 4 or 5 big events. But yeah, that was one that was more like a fun project. So like that's kind of like what the Open was for me, the Freestyle Open. So like Masters gi is gonna be like just a fun side project, right? Yeah, and then I'm excited for the CJJ matches coming up. I mean, I'm not in that.
I was about to say you're not in it.
I'm not in it, but I mean, you know what that is? I might try to do a match at some point. I think it's fun, like just like a single match. I think I'm not a huge fan of getting hit, but if I get the chance to hit somebody, then that's a different story.
But then they can also hit you.
Well, my plan is for them not to hit me.
But they can.
Right, but again, we're just ignoring that.
But like,
saying my plan is for them not to hit me.
As a wrestler, you're used to taking people down, which is right into the element of getting slapped.
That's my point.
I don't think you've thought this through.
We'll see.
It's very similar to you looking at the belt and being like, I bet this can choke him.
I mean, it can. It can actually choke you.
You know, it can, except... No, not at all for where you were or how you were trying to do it. And the best part is this is when you know as somebody who does train in the gi all the time, you become increasingly aware of all the ways your own gi can kill you. And so for me, it becomes one of those things where I go, well, that can't kill me. So let's see how this goes.
Yeah.
And so,
but you gotta try.
You do what you need.
I will continue to try to use the gi in weird ways.
You're the only person I've seen who grabs like this part of the belt and goes, how do I choke him with this?
That's right.
Because there were definitely like 2 parts where I saw you try to sweep me with my own gi belt. And
I was like, something's going to happen with this.
No.
Something will happen with that.
To be fair, you were doing that as I was trying to pass from half.
So I was like,
and then you were trying to put me in half guard.
Now I was going to put
put me in lockdown.
Yeah.
And as you were putting me in lockdown.
A gi lockdown? Shit.
A gi lockdown, but the thing is that you very quickly found it was like, oh, but I can just play with part of your gi. And you're just like.
Gi lockdown, bro. That's where it's at.
But see, the thing is,
lockdown.
You couldn't move because I had the
gi lockdown, though.
No, I know you keep saying gi lockdown.
Spider guard.
Yeah. These are only signs that I should end the interview. Luis,
no, it's a good time.
Before I let you go.
Yes.
Question.
I mean, you made me come to Hollywood, so you will have to let me go eventually.
You know what? You're not here bound by anything other than your own interest in being on an interview.
No, it's mainly just because I enjoy our ridiculous conversations more than anything.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you try to give me shit, and then I just block it off real quick, and you come in with a lot of gumption. I mean, I don't even have to look.
It's like that.
It's
like that meme, you know? Yes.
Yes, good job.
Thanks.
Describing memes and acting them out is the perfect way to go. Question.
Yes.
Who do you have
for
on the 4th?
Wait, who do I have what?
Who do you have on, is it the 4th or the 5th? With Ben Askren.
Oh, and Jordan? Mm-hmm. Come on, man.
We have to ask because you're our wrestling guy. And here's the thing. There are some people who are putting up a very big defense saying that Ben...
No. Ben's not coming.
Why not?
Because he's not... Like, very similar reasons to the same context that I just gave earlier about splitting your time training between these things. I mean, yeah, Ben has a wrestling academy, obviously, but, like, he's not training at that with those... Like, with that specific kind of guy, with those guys, right, getting those looks that Jordan's getting every day.
But aren't you excited for the fact
I'm excited for it for sure, but even Ben himself said that, like, he knows he has a slim chance, right? But he has a chance, sure, but he's not, I mean, yeah, sure, he can, in the scrambling positions, he can catch something, but, like, Jordan's just too good. Yeah. He's too good at all those positions. He's just Jordan, the way Jordan has, I think he said reinvigorated versus reinvented himself, that somebody pointed out. It's been amazing to watch because I've watched him forever. And you know, the way he's changing his style, you know, as he's getting older and adjusting because, you know, he was so highly scouted. Yeah. The way he's adjusting his style is beautiful to see because it's just like, is a guy that is just evolving. Yeah. It's similar, like, I mean, this is completely tangential, but like Valentino, I used to race motorcycles. I'm a huge motorcycle guy. And Valentino Rossi in MotoGP is like a perfect example. Like, he's gone through, he's what, in 20 some years now? He's gone through a bunch of different rules, but he was in 500cc 2-strokes. I mean, he's gone from no electronics to nowadays in the bikes that they're racing, right? Like, he's adjusted his riding style throughout all of those and just to stay at the top, right? And that's kind of what Jordan's doing. Ben's not going to win that match.
Okay.
He's not.
Okay.
But, I mean, to be fair, Beat the Streets is incredible. Like, what they do is amazing. But this whole NCAA versus world team member thing, NCAA champions versus world team member thing is that's a big lull. Because, like, those guys are all going to get spanked.
Oh.
They're going to get spanked.
Okay.
And a lot of them turn that down. I mean, even Jordan said that in the thing when they asked a bunch of the NCAA guys to do that, and they're like, yeah, no, I'm good. Like, I'm good with that. But I think it's great. I mean, the dope thing about Ben is that, like, he just doesn't give a fuck. He's like, yeah, sure. Why wouldn't I wrestle Jordan Burroughs?
Yeah.
I mean, and like Daniel Cormier, his interview was really funny because they tried to get Daniel to wrestle Kyle Snyder.
Yeah.
He was like, no, why?
Right.
He's like, I couldn't beat him when I was 28. I can't beat him now. Why am I going to go get beat up by Kyle Snyder? He's like, fuck that. He's like, and Ben's just a nut. You know what I mean? So Ben's just awesome to watch. I mean, again, I'm a huge fan of Ben. Just realistically speaking, I don't think he's going to win that wrestling match. But he's the man, dude. He shows up, doesn't care. I mean, like, he's got fucking Jorge Masvidal, got like plenty to worry about there, and he's like, yeah, no, I'll go wrestle Jordan Burroughs for fun. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's amazing. I'm certainly going to be watching because it's going to be awesome.
Well, it's awesome. I'm glad that you have it now on print that you didn't like Ben Askren, and that we can send that.
That I
to
didn't
him.
like Ben Askren?
Yeah, you did like. I'm pretty sure we can cut it to say
Bullshit.
exactly that.
I said he's not going to win that match.
And that also you didn't find his brand of humor very funny. I mean, we have the whole thing on here.
That's him. I'm going to cut that part right there.
I mean, I'll tell him that.
That's fine.
I can definitely tell him, like, yo, Boom Roasted is not a joke. But you know what is great? His wrestling.
Yeah.
You know what's not always great? His fights. But he's really good and talented.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that Masvidal fight's going to be interesting.
Yes, it'll be a very interesting matchup between the two.
It's stylistic. It's just like if Ben can implement his game plan, he's probably going to win.
I think both of them, the nice part is I think both see holes in the other's game.
Sure.
That allows them to think,
it.
like, hey, if I can exploit this first, which makes it very fun for us to watch.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah. No, I mean, for those wrestlers that might be watching this, the In Beat the Streets Yanni versus Bajrang. Fuck, that match is going to be bananas, dude. That match is going to be nuts. I can't even understand how that match is going to play out.
Well, I'm glad that you have a feeling on that and not an actual prediction, but you just are saying it.
I'm not confident enough to predict. I had a prediction before the U.S. Open this
weekend. What happened then?
Yanni went into the U.S. Open and just did some fucking crazy voodoo shit. Like he's just incredible. He's a sophomore. He's gonna be a junior in college. 2-time NCAA champ already.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and went through ended up beating Tech Jordan Oliver, beat Zane Rutherford. Like, yeah. So, I mean, Yanni's just a freak.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to watch him. But yeah, Beat the Streets is going to be dope.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you've evolved your opinion so that you can make a better informed opinion.
Well, I had a very one-sided opinion before the U.S. Open.
And then you went curtailed.
And then I was just like, wow, maybe my opinion is just not right at the moment.
Is it ever?
Sometimes.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Luis Quinones for stopping in. We'll be right back after these messages. I think I'm looking at the right spot. I don't know.
You have a message the whole time.
The whole time I've had a fucking message from my fucking sister.
I was like,
I hope this is